Welcome to Twin Peaks Unwrapped. I'm your host, Ben Durant, and beside me is
Brian Kazaska.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Ben.
Another great show. We've got Ben, who's known as Beano on Twitter, and we've got Joel Bocko. We'll talk about his Patreon.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, we're on the phone with Ben, who, we might know him as Beano on Twitter. Hey, Ben.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Great.
Doing good.
You've been busy these past few months. You went to the SF Sketchfest, which focused on Twin Peaks, I think, back in January.
I did, yes, in San Francisco. Yeah, I live about an hour plus north from San Francisco, so I was able to drive down there and be a part of it. It was really awesome. It was kind of surreal, actually, to be honest. There's a lot of people there. There's a ton of people there. It blew my mind how Twin Peaks has come back into the popular mind.
Totally. And when I hear Sketchfest, I think to myself, oh, are they putting on sketches? Do they have some kind of script? But tell us, what did this entail?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what the whole Sketchfest thing is. It's a bit of a mystery to me that Twin Peaks ended up in this event. I had never heard of Sketchfest before, but apparently it's a pretty big deal, and it's been going on for a few years, and it's a comedy festival. And, I don't think that most people think of Twin Peaks as being a comedy. I think it's hilarious sometimes. But,
season two, right?
Season
two is pretty fun.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't know how it ended up there. So it was a panel of, I think there was 11 actors there.
Wow.
And it was moderated by James Roday, I believe I'm saying his name right, from Psych.
Oh, yeah, and he's a big Twin Peaks fan.
I think he's friends with Dana Ashbrook. I'm imagining that he must have had some sway there. And yeah, it was an incredible experience, though.
Of course, we all know the reveal of Season 3. At what point during production does David sit down, and I believe that was filmed early on in the production sequence. At what point does David sit down with all of you to kind of give you the reveal of how this season is going to end? And I guess just run that process. Or were you there with the rest of us on that final night watching it?
Just the thought of David having a table where we all come in and he's like, okay, this is what it is. This is the furthest thing from whatever happened.
The panel itself was, incredible. To see all of those actors there together talking about Twin Peaks was just, in and of itself was great. With all of those people there, it was amazing. I don't know, I'm kind of bad with crowd size numbers, but there was definitely hundreds of people there, if not more than that. When I got there was, I showed up maybe about half an hour before it started, and there was a line around the corner of people waiting to get in, which was really incredible to see. And I was lucky enough to get one of the VIP tickets, so I got to be kind of down close towards the orchestra section.
Wow.
So that was pretty neat. And the VIP ticket included a meet and greet directly afterwards, which was, an opportunity that I couldn't pass up, of course. So after the panel, we got to shuffle down the street to a secret location where we got to meet all the actors and get autographs, which was pretty special. I was dying to meet Ray Wise, so it was really cool that he was there. To be able to shake hands with Leland Palmer was pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
That is
so cool.
Pretty cool.
So after the panel and after the meet and greet, there was a music event at another location, and it was kind of billed as being there was going to be an orchestra of musicians who were going to play Twin Peaks music, and that possibly some of the actors might show up. So it wasn't really explained that there would be actually some of the actors singing and doing, musical numbers there. And Ray Wise got up and did Maresito. It was like a dream. It was like, when does this stuff happen? Ray Wise saying Merzito, James Marshall saying Just You.
Just you and I.
In his normal voice, which was different.
Which is
not in
probably the voice he
falsetto.
wanted to do. Like, I mean, in Reflections, Brad Duke's book, he talks about how Lynch had already done the music, and he didn't really want it to be in that key.
Yeah.
And so it was a little low for him,
Right.
I think. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So he got the opportunity to do that in front of a big crowd, which was, I'm sure he was loving it. Krista Bell got up and sang Sycamore Trees,
Ooh,
which
love it.
I immediately thought of you guys, of course.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks.
I was like, oh my gosh, Ben and Brian would be dying right now. It was awesome.
And
I mean, it was
Audrey-
really an incredible experience. And a packed house.
There's no better experience as being with fans who love Twin Peaks all in the same room together with the actors from the show.
Like when we were
Yeah.
at the movie festival at the fest last year, when we saw Krista Bell sing the poem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was
at
really
the
special.
Twin Peaks Fest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also got to see
Yeah.
Sherilyn Fenn. Sherilyn Fenn did her dance on stage. I love that.
Yep. Yeah, they did a dance contest actually. So they had Sherilyn get up, and then she was doing her dance to Audrey's dance, and then they had people from the audience go up and dance with her.
Who wants to dance? Who can do Audrey's dance with me?
I think I blacked out for most of it because I was so excited. I've been a Twin Peaks fan since I was 13, and I mean, when the original series was on, too young to go to events like this, but I don't remember there being things like this going on at that time, in the early 90s. So yeah, it just blew me away. And I also had the opportunity to go to the Roadhouse pop-up in LA over Christmas.
Oh, so
How was
lucky.
that?
Yeah, I don't know how I find time for all this stuff because I have a pretty busy life. But the Roadhouse was awesome, but again, it was just like I couldn't believe that there was so many people there. It was amazing how and people of all ages too, like people my age, people older, people in their 20s who weren't even born when the original series came on. It was just incredible to see so many people have so much love for Twin Peaks, and they had really good food too.
Ben, you also had an event that you went to that had David Lynch there for a TM event. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, talk about blacking out. I got to meet David Lynch. I can't even believe it.
Oh my God! What did you say to him?
Oh man, I planned a speech and everything. And it all just like I barely even said a word to him. Yeah, I also got opportunity to see David Lynch speak in San Francisco. I guess that was a couple weeks ago.
And you got him to sign your book?
I did. Yeah, I did. I actually have I don't know if you guys have ever seen his photography book of abandoned factories.
No. I don't think I have that one.
Oh, it's like my favorite, a favorite book of his. It's just amazing artwork. Photography. Yeah, I got him to sign that. I don't think he was supposed to. He was supposed to be just signing his meditation book, and I pulled it out of my bag, and he said, "Quickly, give it to me. Don't let anybody see." And he signed it for me, so I was really stoked on that.
Oh, that's very
and
special.
it said to Ben, which I took to mean me.
Oh, right. Yeah, I posted a picture of it on Twitter. Okay, you can pretend.
I can pretend. You got the real thing.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
be right there with him and talk to him, and I'm envious of you.
Yeah, that's so cool. Did you try to touch his hair? Did you shake his hand?
I totally wanted to touch his hair, but I didn't.
Did you shake his hand?
Oh, I did shake his hand.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool.
You got to shake his hand. You got him to sign your book.
I got to shake his hand.
What more do you want? What
Yeah,
more do you
that's
need?
so cool. That's so
Right?
cool.
I would like an intimate dinner with him is what I would like.
You got to win one of those contests.
He was there with Bob Roth, and they were doing a Bob Roth book release tour. So they were talking about transcendental meditation, which was the main topic of their talk. But he did talk about Twin Peaks a little bit. Of course, the highlight for me was hearing him talk about how awesome it was for him to go back to Twin Peaks on season 3 and to work with all the actors. He said it was a happy thing, but it was a sad thing because of the actors that, we lost since the season has aired. And he said, he wishes that he could work with them again. It was kind of touching. Also kind of, I feel like in my obsessed Twin Peaks fan mind, meant that he wants to do a season 4.
Yes, that's it.
You know?
Yes, I agree. I thought you were gonna say that right here on the show that he officially said, "Yes, I'm gonna do a season."
He's
4.
never gonna say that. He'll never say that.
Yeah. No, of course not. Right?
There's so many hints, though. I mean, like I know I feel like I say this every week, but like Sherilyn Fenn said to us that if people want more, he would do more, and the fact
But then
that
she got in trouble for that.
I know, just don't say that. And the fact that Showtime seems to be saying that we don't want to bother him, but yes, we want to do more with him. That it feels like it should happen, or we should have a movie or something, a Showtime movie.
Something, right?
Something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No,
I believe in my bones that it will eventually, but it might take some time, you know?
Yeah.
We can wait. We've waited 25 years. We can wait a few more years. For
Maybe 5. He said it took 5, so
We're really good at waiting.
Very good at waiting. And Ben, the last time we really talked about the show with you was at the Roadhouse, which I believe was part 12.
Uh-huh.
What was your feeling?
Yeah, that's right.
What was your feelings after 12? Like, so you got to watch 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and now it's, months later. How do you feel about the show overall? Too big of a question.
Well, I love it.
Yeah.
It is a really big question, but I love it. I am in the midst of rewatching the whole series again now. So going back and watching, season 1 and season 2 is such a different experience now. It's a show that I've watched, 1,100 times, but it feels different now to go back to it and to see. Like I just got through the part with MT Wentz and Vivian. And, having read the final dossier and what happens there, it's like, wow, this really feels really different now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all in all, though, I mean, I love season 3. I can't wait to get back to rewatching it again. But I just feel in my bones that there's more to the story. That's just me, but
yeah,
I feel like there's more.
I feel the same way. I want more Red, and I want a confrontation between Sarah and Laura, and I feel like there's just so much more story to be told. And I hope Lynch will do it.
Yeah.
I hope Frost will do it.
A movie would be great.
Like so many people have said too, like if this is all we get, then I'm more than happy.
True.
It was a great ride.
Right.
But I just feel in my bones that there's more. They've got more. They've got more to say. They got more to tell.
I want to believe that they're keeping it secret, but right now Lynch and Frost are actually sitting down writing. I really want to believe they're writing as we speak.
Oh my gosh, I like read so much into everything that I hear too. Like I heard that Bob Roth went on to continue his book tour in Europe without David Lynch. I decided in my obsessed mind that means that David Lynch is hanging back in the States to write season 4 with Mark Frost.
Yes, I think that you are right.
You heard it here first.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's true.
Sounds
you heard it here first.
Years later, they'll be like, yes, that's what we were doing.
That was it.
And Ben, did you get the Blu-ray?
Oh, of course. That day when it was being released, I was one of the frantic people who had ordered it off of Amazon and it didn't ship that day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I canceled my order and went off to Best Buy and got it there. Have to have it like the day of, or I'll freak out. I won't be able to sleep.
I don't trust Amazon at all when it comes to that kind of stuff. That
happened to me too. So I had ordered it on Amazon, and then it said it was delayed.
Yeah.
And Showtime was kind enough to give us a copy to review. So I actually did get it early. I think I got it before it was available.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You got it a couple days.
I got it a couple days before it was available, and then I know we already told the story, but Brian was sick.
I was sick,
and I was like, I have to go to Best Buy and get you a copy.
Yeah, so he used his copy that he canceled Amazon.
Right, so the money I would have spent on buying it, I bought for Brian.
Yeah, it was very nice, and he delivered it to my house. He was my personal Amazon.
That's awesome.
I think I was faster than Amazon.
That's Twin Peaks love right there.
Yeah. You were faster than Amazon because you actually showed up on time.
And Ben, I am still impressed by that Blu-ray. I cannot believe how many hours we get of Lynch directing Twin Peaks. Like that to me is heaven. It's just incredible to see.
Isn't it incredible? Incredible to see all the behind the scenes stuff. I never would have expected that we would see all of that.
No.
Yeah.
So I just love it. It's just, I mean, and again, right, if that's all we get, I mean, it's a great way to go out.
Yeah, definitely. And we're holding out for another re-release with more deleted scenes.
It's the 4K release.
It's going to have season 1, 2, Firewalk with Me, 3, missing pieces, and then they're going to be like, even more.
Well, Ben, this has been great talking with you. So excited with all the things you've been doing.
I'm so excited I've been able to do them. It's like I said, it's just it seems like there was so long there where nobody really talked about Twin Peaks, or now it's like there's all these events going on and people are actually going to them. It's amazing.
I also want to believe that there's going to be a fourth season because it seems like the momentum hasn't died. Like, wow, we're still doing these events. Like,
right.
The show ended in September. What are we still having these events and things going on now? But people love the show and it'll keep going.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me. Definitely momentum. It's a good word.
Yeah, Showtime.
Feels like we got momentum.
Yeah, Showtime did say they want to keep exploiting Twin Peaks.
Yeah, we don't love the word exploiting, but I knew what they meant. They want to get it out there more to a wider audience somehow.
Yeah, and I mean streaming, like the show, just because it's not on every week, it still lives on Showtime online. And I think it says they're saying like, hey, you could still watch the show online. You could still go out and buy the physical disc. So they're making money off of it somehow.
Yes.
And the pop-ups and all these events are really kind of pushing that product somehow, some way. It's like, oh, you still haven't bought the DVD? Oh, you still haven't watched it? So I think Showtime's very smart to keep on this momentum, and maybe it would lead to more. Maybe David Lynch is like secretly watching everything, and he kind of knows where the pulse is. Maybe the pulse is big enough where he's like, okay, we could. I could tell people would really dig another season.
Right.
So
who knows?
Yeah, he's a sneaky guy, David Lynch.
He is sneaky. And I think that Showtime should exploit it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We encourage.
Keep exploiting.
Yeah.
Exploit the crap out of it.
And where can people find you online?
Oh, yeah. We'll see him on Twitter at beanorojo, BEANOROJO.
Yeah, so I started a Patreon account with the new year. The Lost in the Movies podcast is just what it's called, so it's tied directly to the site. It would be sort of sharing updates on what I was working on, and I thought, that should have a centerpiece, so I should, review a film or something. And then one of the rewards could be that, for $5, patrons can choose a film that I talk about, and I'll do, one of those for each patron each month for that tier. So that's what I've been doing now. I've actually got 9 of the podcasts. 8 are up, and the 9th one's coming out soon. It'll probably be up by the time you put this up.
Yeah.
And I open every episode. Welcome to Lost in the Movies. This week I'm covering Carnival of Souls, Upstream Color, and Shanghai Gesture. Last week I covered Blade Runner 2049. After just a quick greeting, I go into updates. Basically 3 types of updates. I update on things that are going on with Patreon. Every couple weeks I do, for the $10 tier, I do a preview of content, like a 1-minute clip from a movie or 2 pages from a review. That's just for the $10, for the 3rd tier, but I'll mention it on the show, and I'll do a behind-the-scenes update of works in progress that I'm working on, and then also an update of what's new on the site, if there's a new post that went up. I haven't posted anything new on LostInTheMovies.com this week, but I did update the picture gallery somewhat. Specifically, the Twin Peaks page now has some more pictures, so I'll link that below. And then after that, I usually go into the films in focus, which are films that are suggested by the 2nd-tier patrons, the $5 a month. Depending how many there are, I could do a double feature or a triple feature. Sometimes it's a solo film, and I'll talk about that film. I'll usually play a clip from the trailer, just the audio, and then I'll talk about it for about 15 minutes.
Carnival of Souls is the shocker of all time, guaranteed to sweep you into a new dimension of picture making. You can't afford to miss Carnival of Souls.
In No Exit, which would also be a good alternate name for this film, Jean-Paul Sartre famously said, "Hell is other people." And this story seems to bear that out. Or does it?
They're sort of off the cuff. Like, when I planned the podcast, I thought it would basically be like a live stream. I'm doing way more editing than I thought I would. But, surprise. If you're not
surprise.
editing it,
We know about that.
Yeah.
So then when that section's done, I do a Twin Peaks Reflections every week. That's a short segment on just some aspect of Twin Peaks. And lately I've been doing like the books, like I've talking about the Access Guide and Cooper's autobiography, Laura's Diary. But I also do other things. So like, for example, one of my longest ones so far was on the music from Journey Through Twin Peaks. So I talked about how I used various pieces of music in the video series, like at the beginning and end of each chapter and stuff like that. So that was fun.
For the next few weeks on Twin Peaks Reflections, I'm going to talk about different Twin Peaks books, and I should put books in quotes because one of them is a audio book that was not actually an adaptation of a book. It was made just for audio, and we'll get to that in a couple weeks. But first, I want to talk about one of the more atypical spin-off books of any TV show, I think. It's called The Access Guide to Twin Peaks.
I do an other topic section. That's like the miscellaneous catch-all. Sometimes it'll be like stuff I've been talking about on Twitter and things like that. And
there were a lot of films around 99 and 2000 which were really popular with people my age. I was definitely right square in the center of the demographic that these films were looking for, That said, though, these films tended to sort of frustrate me, sometimes underwhelm me. I generally liked most of them okay, but they weren't really what I was looking for movies. So these films were like Fight Club, Three Kings, the David O. Russell movie in Iraq, The Matrix, and I would put Memento in that category as well. And they're all very heady films, very sort of conceptual films first and foremost. And often I felt that they were missing some sort of humanism.
And then it ends with opening the archive segment where I'm looking at a specific period of blogging. And I'm going chronologically. So starting in January through July when my 10th anniversary is going to be, each week I'm covering a different era within the site's history and what I wrote during that time and what the general sort of mission was at that point.
This week's opening the archive is called The Image Emerges. It covers January to February 2010, the first months of the decade that we're presently in. I called this chapter The Image Emerges because this is when the site really starts to become more visual in earnest. There had been certain posts in the past where I'd done lists of favorite characters or stuff like that, and I tried to include pictures throughout. But this was a period where I actually started screen capping things myself and creating visual tributes.
So it kind of covers a lot of ground. It's about an hour long each week, and you can kind of listen to the parts you want to listen to. I put it out with a description of when each part is and everything like that. So that's fun. I think I thought way more people would join for $1 and relatively few would join for $5 or $10. But there was actually quite a lot of people joining for $5. And depending at what level, I would say when it gets, definitely by the time it gets to if it gets to 20 people, I would probably have to come up with a different plan. Because at that point, I'm now watching and reviewing 20 films in addition to anything else I'm doing every month,
That's a lot.
That could just, and it's at that point, it's not very cost efficient, if you're starting a Patreon to bring in something extra, it gets a little complicated. Yeah. But, as it is now, it's still manageable. So I'm doing 9 or 10 movies each month just based on what people suggest. And it's fun because different people will suggest totally different things. And then because I'm doing a podcast every week, I have to combine films into episodes. So sometimes you get different arrangements. I did one, 2 people suggested Christopher Nolan films in January. So I did one episode that was a double feature of Prestige and Interstellar. So that's fun to do. And it's getting me seeing a lot more movies, honestly, than I had been because I'd kind of been in a situation of just not watching that many movies. anymore.
Yeah.
Even on DVD,
Right.
So.
And so I joined for $1. It's $1 a month. You get what, four episodes in the month? Do you always get one out every week, or is it all depends on?
Yeah, no, it's every week. I'm very purposeful about that, and actually lately I've been trying to get recordings up ahead of time, or finished ahead of time, so that I can have a little bit of a breather, but still be going at a steady pace.
Yeah. So it's like the best $1 I've ever spent, I think. I mean, you can't.
Oh, well, thank you.
Really, I mean, and I think I posted that on Twitter that I.
Yes, we shared that on Twitter.
Yeah, we shared it on Twitter.
Yeah.
For anybody who joins at just a $1 a month level, you get access to the podcasts. So, like, you can listen to the new episodes when they drop. And you also get a day in advance when video essays, which I haven't done any for a while, but when those come out, you get 1 day advance viewing. So when like the new Journey Through Twin Peaks comes out, and the $5 tier gets like a week, and $10 tier gets 2 weeks in advance on those. So
wow,
and that's for the full video, not just the clips, which I'm putting up.
Yeah, of course. My favorite part is the Twin Peaks reflection section. And I know in episode 8, you were saying how the Access Guide you talked about, and in the show notes we had Twin Peaks Unwrapped mentioned.
We did,
yeah.
Thank you, Joel.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was a great interview you did with him.
Richard Saul Werman, how can I help you?
I don't think I've ever heard anybody else talk with him about that. So that was like,
that was
a pretty
a
special
deep dive.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So, but cool, yeah,
mine was just like a few minutes, but I was like, if you want to go more in depth, and then of course the Deer Meadow Radio, he did like
he did a great job too.
Yeah.
Mark did a great job.
It's like he spent like an hour talking about like the first 15 pages of like the Access Guide with like the waterfall and the going up to like 1890 in the Opera House or something. It's like, man, this is like for the hardcore Twin Peaks people like me. I'm digging it.
I dig it. That's awesome. I'm so glad that I've signed up for this because it's great every week to hear you. And
I gotta hop on there. I'm Joel. I'll hop on this week. I gotta support you.
And for people that don't know, you sign up and you get this master URL link that I can take and I can put it into whatever podcast app that you're listening to. So I'm actually just for this I'm just using Apple's podcast. It downloads automatically, so whenever a new episode Joel puts out, I just get it. And
that's cool.
Great. Yeah, there's an RSS link, right?
Right.
I don't even know how the tech stuff works, but somebody was asking me about you get it onto a platform or something, so like SoundCloud, then people can. So I haven't looked into that part yet, but that may be in the future too that I'll be doing that.
It is really kind of cool that we live in an age where people can pay their favorite content creator. This has been going on for maybe 8 years, 5 years. I mean, maybe in the last couple of years has really caught on where people are leaving their full-time jobs and becoming full-time content creators, and they're being supported by their fans. And I mean, that's pretty wild.
So awesome.
It is truly one of the greatest things the internet has ever gave us. I mean, so you can be supported just by people who like your stuff. I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, certainly in this case and many others, I think too, even if it's just a small amount, it can sort of provide a nice sort of supplement or boost that kind of helps you out. And I think it's a nice thing to build as well. Like, it's not just sort of like a surge and then a lull is a surge or whatever. It's like, people become patrons and they usually stick around, and that can grow over time. So it's like sort of slowly building something and, moving forward with it. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Definitely.
He's been shot full of haloperidol.
Right.
Garland? Did Wyndham Earl do this to you?
Garland? An odd name. Judy Garland?
I gotta say, I'm a little bit sort of weary of the cult of Judy that's like risen up, I think, since the return. Like, it seems like there's just this whole sort of notion of like, that's it. Judy is the big bad of Twin Peaks now. She has like the ultimate evil, and it's like, that's such an add-on. Like, that's not like, and yes, I know the show does that itself in the episode 17, but it's like, it just feels kind of like trite in a way for me to see like suddenly the story of Twin Peaks is how to destroy Judy after like 46 episodes of being something else. And I think obviously whatever Judy is important. It's like the last line of Fire Walk with Me. It's made into a big theme of 17 and 18, but it has to somehow tie in with the rest of the series. Like, it can't just be this like extraneous new thing added at like the last second. Like it has to somehow relate back to the themes of what we've seen before. And
I agree.
And yeah, I just don't think, and like when they say Judy is a negative force, to me that's more ambiguous than saying she is the ultimate evil.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I kind of look back to
just-
the evil that men do. Like I think Judy being in the whole atomic bomb, that's her in there. And so in a way, the atomic bomb is the evil that men do, and yet this seems to be.
But like, why would that need to be like if they already had Bob as like a potential metaphor for that? Like, what does Judy bring? Like, I think was it you guys that I talked with about the idea of like if Judy is to Sarah as like Bob was to Leland or whatever. Like, what does that mean? The people have sort of fixated on this idea of like Judy's the biggest evil force in the universe, and that's what Twin Peaks is about, and Sarah's evil because she has Judy inside of her, and and then from there you can go on.
I feel like Laura should be more of the center. I mean, when I think about Laura and Cooper going to the house, it was really about Laura confronting her demons. To me, it was more about Laura having.
Feels like something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's Laura though.
Oh man,
It's Carrie Page. I'm in my middle of season 2. I'm almost done with season 2 rewatch. Be going to season 3, and the only thing about season 3, like it goes in line with what you're saying. The only thing that's bothered me, and I don't know, maybe it won't bother me after a while. I don't know, but when they put the face of Bob on the evil, I kind of felt like I wish that they kept that ambiguous. That
you mean on the ball?
Yeah, when the mother is spewing out
that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I always felt like, why do we need to have Bob's face on there? It's black. You have the light in the dark. Sometimes I felt like by putting Bob's face in that orb and Laura's face in that orb,
right,
it was hitting us over the head with that. Like,
well, I think the fans would be upset that there was no Bob. Like Bob was so much in 1 and 2, and suddenly to be.
I know I wouldn't, because Cooper wasn't in it, and you were kind of upset by that.
Yep.
But I don't think we would have been. I was just saying, like you're saying, Ben, the atomic bomb is something that men do. It's evil, let into the world. For me to have Bob's face on there, it didn't really do anything for me. It was just like, I know that's evil. Like, I don't need to know.
It didn't tell you anything new about Bob?
No, it was just Bob's face superimposed on a orb.
But we were left on a cliffhanger in season 2 with Cooper being possessed by Bob.
And Bob isn't with Cooper. So I don't, like, I'm just saying that his face being on that orb, to me, if Bob is a metaphor, I don't need to see his face there. I know what it is. As the audience member, I almost felt like, was that a Lynch idea? Or was that like someone saying, you need to tell the audience what this is? I kind of felt like it was being too obvious. It was just like, hey, this is Bob. Hey, this... I don't know. Part of me was just kind of like, I didn't need it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe my opinion will change rewatching it.
So, Joel, are you going to continue to work on Journey through Twin Peaks? Will you get through season 3? Are you going to continue video essays?
Yeah, my plan was I had a whole schedule to start in January, and then that kind of passed, so I postponed it to March. Now that's passed, so it's going to be April, or else it's going to wait till after the 10th anniversary stuff that I'm doing this summer to revise my whole character series, where it's going to be 90 entries, basically, on the characters ranked by screen time. And, because I did so much of it last year, I can keep some of those pieces and just link to them. Some of them I have to update. Some of them will be all new because it's new characters. But I've been doing the early stuff on that, and I still haven't even gotten to the main stuff. So if I can finish that, or at least get enough ahead on that in time to put that up in April, then in July I would do the Journey Through Twin Peaks videos. But that's, that's, like I said, it's all sort of time dependent. But I know the basic structure I want to follow for the Journey Through Twin Peaks videos. But that's all I've done. Other than that, I've just been reading various theories and articles and stuff. And at some point, I'll get back on DougPie. I haven't been on there in a while. And have some discussions and kind of start to piece it together. I think for me, what's going to be interesting, there's a lot of like general stuff that I want to talk about and think about with the return. I'm still not totally sure about like the central hook of it. Like for me, when I did Journey Through Twin Peaks, that came out of sort of this discovery of Twin Peaks as a messy but complete whole that led from the pilot to Firewalk with Me. This idea of it like a whirlpool where you start on the periphery with this sort of abstract idea of Laura Palmer, and then you end up with her real life, and you kind of discover the meaning of that and the spiritual resonance of it and everything. And that was kind of the journey that was going on. Now I'm not as sure, and it's difficult too, because with the return, it was created different. Like, part of the story of Twin Peaks to me was that it was made up as it went along. And this was made up sort of all at once or mostly all at once in a very ambiguous situation we don't really know anything about. We just know Lynch and Frost talked over Skype for like a couple years. So we don't know anything about the process. There's like a cornucopia of stuff to talk about that I'm really excited to talk about. But the overall shape is less clear to me in a way of what it's going to be or what I want to focus on or what kind of argument I want to make overall about the series. Even though it was created in a more concentrated way, it feels more diffuse in some ways. I'm less sure what it's about. That's how I'd put it. I'm really less sure what season 3 is about than I feel about earlier Twin Peaks. As like a piece of TV or cinema or whatever, it's like just unrestrained masterpiece. Like, this is like one of the greatest things ever to be on TV, and it was so thrilling to watch it. As a piece of Twin Peaks, I feel more ambivalent about where it stands in relation to what already existed, because to me, what already existed was a complete story. So what this brings to that or complicates from it or adheres to within it, I'm still not totally sure. Like, there's sort of wisps of things that I'm sort of grasping at, but I don't yet totally have a story to tell about where that goes. But I have some ideas. Like, there's certain things I think Diane in some ways feels like one of the most important elements of season 3. And I feel like I haven't been keeping up that much with the writing on Twin Peaks, but from what I've seen, it seems like she's somewhat neglected. And I know John Thorne has a ton of feelings about her and kind of fascination with her character and the narrative. Like, he's writing something right now, I think, that's heavily focused on her importance.
Wow.
Which I think is key, like, because it does feel like there's some sort of key there with her. It's a collaboration like Lynch and Frost never really had on the first series. They had a tug of war there. They wrote the pilot head to head, but that was open-ended. And after that, they kind of worked back and forth, and sometimes at cross purposes, and that's part of like the richness of Twin Peaks. With this, you're getting both the Lynch thing and the Frost thing, and they're kind of mashed up together in a way where it's like a real puzzle to try and tease out where the things come from. And I think that's important. I mean, some people might say, and they would probably say, oh, it doesn't matter, it's our ideas come together in the ceiling or whatever like Lynch says about, the collaborative process. But to me, it matters because I think they're really fundamentally different artists. And that's what's so interesting about their work together is they're not that like synchronous. So it's like the, sugar and salt or whatever. Like, there's just a interesting flavor that comes out from their collaboration because they're so different from each other. With the return, it involves a lot of kind of guesswork and like thought experiments in a way, because you can look at something one way and be like, well, that's much more of a Lynch thing, and then you can look at it from another and be like, actually no, it's more of a Frost thing, this thing, because it's not evenly divided the way the early series where okay, Frost wrote this one.
Right.
Lynch came in and directed and improvised on this one. Like, how to distinguish the two forces from each other. So,
definitely. What's funny is that
interesting.
In the first season, they actually were able to write everything, and they actually filmed everything, and they edited everything before it even aired on TV. They had the first season in the can. But it was Mark Frost who was really... from his background in television, that was really driving the show. And it's funny to come into this season 3, and you're right. There's much tighter writing the scripts together with Mark and David. Yeah. But then to have David be really the one pushing the story and rewriting stuff. He took control.
Totally took control.
Totally took control from filming it and then to editing it and to be so much involved with it. It's funny to go from Mark really heavily involved to ending it, at least with season 3 here, with really David heavily involved. I don't know.
And on top of that, like, Mark Frost was immersed in TV culture in 1989. He'd been a head writer for several seasons of one of like the top TV shows. He'd written a bunch of TV episodes, and on the air, which only lasted 7 episodes,
Right.
not even most of them aired. Twin Peaks basically show ran that first season, like that was in his bloodstream. It's really not anymore. Now he's like a novelist, and he hasn't worked in TV in at least a decade until the return.
Right.
And that was even that, I think maybe 15 years or something was the last time he'd worked in TV. And that just, so he's already coming to it from a different place at that point, which is interesting.
And he's trying to get the List of Seven into a TV show. I don't know where they are with that. But
that's right.
Promoting the history of Twin Peaks, he was talking about that. But I don't know if it's gone anywhere. But I would love to see him do that, the List of Seven as a show.
And honestly, it would just be great as a Twin Peaks sort of investigator to be like, it will give you a sense of kind of where he's at, and like almost, like we can look at Twin Peaks, the return, and tease out, oh, here's some Inland Empire, here's some Mulholland Drive. Like we'd be able to look at it and be like, oh yeah, here's some List of Seven, like it would sort of clarify a little bit. You'd be sifting out like, the frost.
Definitely. And going back to your podcast, what I love about your podcast too is your show notes. I know we were in episode 8 show notes, but they're so detailed, and it really shows all the research you put into your shows. And I think it's great for people who sign up for the podcast to be able to continue the research on their own through your show notes.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have fun putting up the links. Next week's one, which I've already finished, it might be this. I don't know when you're going to air this episode, but episode 9, the one that's going to talk about Kurosawa's High and Low. There's a segment in the other topics where I just talk about podcast episodes I've been listening to. I think all political podcasts. And there's like 10 different podcast episodes linked up in the show notes of like stuff that people can listen to if they think the descriptions are interesting, Wow. So I do have fun with those.
Joel, thank you so much. It's great talking with you. I'm definitely enjoying your podcast, and I really recommend everybody who's listening to sign up for $1. I mean, you can't even get a cup of coffee for that price. So I mean, come on. Why aren't you signed up?
Thanks, Ben and Joel, for being on today's show.
Yeah, it was good talking with him. I'm so jealous of Ben that he's been doing all sorts of stuff related to Twin Peaks and meeting David Lynch, and he's had
shook hands with David Lynch.
Joel is now gone to podcasts, like he's doing his
Patreon
for $1. I think everybody should just go on.
You've been raving about it.
Yeah, I get 4 podcasts a month. They're usually at least an hour long and stuff. And he's got so much great information. And if you want, you could just skip to his Twin Peaks section, but go to patreon.com/LostInTheMovies, and you could become a Patreon member for just $1 a month. You could be listening to Joel every week.
How cool is that?
That's so awesome.
And he's got so many projects in the pipeline. Like, off of like, we can't mention them, but it's just like, when do you find time?
Well, he talks about the character studies. Like, I know he's been trying to get that out.
But he's doing other things.
He's got so many other projects.
Secret projects going on.
Yeah, I don't think he sleeps. I think he just works all the time.
I think you're right. He's a
but
great
it's great
guy.
talking to these guys. And another great show.
Yeah. And if you have a comment, question, or theory, please email us at twinpeaksunwrapped@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. Also, feel free to like us on Facebook at Twin Peaks Unwrapped. And Ben, he's the master of Twitter, Twin Peaks Unwrapped. We're at Twin Peaks Unwrapped. And Twitter's Unwrapped. And Twitter's going good. Facebook is growing great.
Yeah.
We're on the iTunes. Leave us a 4-star review.
No, I want a 5-star.
Leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a nice little comment. That gets us up there in the rankings.
And we might do another feedback show one of these days.
Yeah.
And part of the feedbacks we take from Twitter and Facebook and through iTunes. And when you email us, we love the feedback.
Yeah, it could show up
YouTube.
on a future show.
I want to forget YouTube too. You guys are great.
Oh yes, YouTube's amazing. The community on YouTube is really cool. It's weird because it's like I would be like, oh, the show's on YouTube. I'll find it off iTunes, but these people listen to us on YouTube, which is so cool.
That's their thing.
Yeah. It's a community, just like everything else. And we're on Podbean, and we're still waiting to hear back from Spotify.
Maybe we shouldn't even mention it. Who knows?
I'm going to keep mentioning it until one day it happens.
All right.
It's like, every day you were like, Cooper's going to come back next week?
Right.
That's my Cooper.
Are you saying it's going to take 18 weeks here?
It could be, but hey. If I keep saying it enough, it could come true eventually.
Well, we'll be back again next week. Twin Peaks Unwrapped. I'm your host, Ben Durant, and beside me is...
Brian Kazaska.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Brian. How's it going?
I really must be getting tired.
Are you all right over there?
Oh, man.
Did you say, hey, Ben?
You know what happened was I was really thinking about
our guests.
Ben.
Yeah. You're talking to Ben. Ben's talking to Ben.
On the next episode of Twin Peaks Unwrapped. The Ben Durant Show.
There you go. Oh, wow. I don't think so.